Thank you so much, Ed, for inviting me to participate. When Ed called, and you guys, any of you who has worked with him knows how persistent Ed can be. He said, we are publishing this book, and so, can you come and speak? And I said, well, what is the book about? He said, well, Born Again Uchinanchu. I said, but what is the book about? What do you want me to talk about? He goes, well, just talk about whatever. Okay. He said, well, just talk about when you realized that you were Okinawan. So they said 10 minutes, so I'll just kind of talk a little bit about, uh, growing up, I knew I was Okinawan because my big auntie always made sure that she told us we came from Okinawa, and we were participants in the Gaza Club because we came from Gaza. And beyond that, I really didn't know what the difference between being Okinawan or being Japanese was. I mean, it's just, I knew that I was Okinawan and not certain what the significance of that meant. Um, I think when Ed asked me to talk about at what point you came to realize what it means to be Uchinanchu, um, it clearly was because of Governor Wahe. So in 1988, I was just re-elected for the second time, and governor was governor. And he calls me and he says, I want you to serve on this commission to celebrate the 90th anniversary of the arrival of the first Okinawan in Hawaii. And, governor was relatively new governor. And, we actually had met in 86 when we both were running for office. And our claim to fame was that everybody thought we were going to lose in 86. And he came to my fundraiser, and I went to one of his fundraisers. And I think we're the only two people who thought we were going to win. But, but obviously, fast forward to today, the rest is history. He didn't believe what people were telling him, and I didn't believe what people are telling me. And we both are fortunate in that we never lost an election. So I do think that that's part of being Okinawan. But, so I was on this commission, and I didn't really know what was so special about it. But First Lady Lynn Wahe was the co-chair, and I had the opportunity to meet all of the icons in the Okinawan community who were serving on this commission. So, besides First Lady, Ed Kuba was involved. Wayne Miyahira, I remember, was one of the co-chairs. Al Teruya, Goro Arakawa, Gary Mijo, Stanley Takamine. And, Okinawans, it's not sufficient to just have one celebration. I mean, the commission planned events for the entire year, right? I mean, it started in January. We recreated the arrival of Kyuzu Toyama, the father of immigration, and we had events lined up. And I never worked harder than ever before in my life being part of this commission and planning all of these activities. And, that was the first realization about what it meant to be Okinawan. People work really hard. People are proud of who they are and what they stand for. It is about the core values of all of us who are Okinawan, about work hard, be humble, help each other. And that really was my first Born Again Uchinanchu experience to be part of this. I was 30 years old. I was new to politics, didn't really understand what was going on. Governor calls me, you serve on this. I didn't realize I was going to end up working so hard. But, it was my introduction. But certainly, as we moved on, fast forward to running for governor in 2014 campaign, um, you know, we're working like crazy in the election, and people began to tell me that people in Okinawa are excited about you running for governor in Hawaii. And it was sort of like, well, how can they be excited about me running for governor in Hawaii? And it was because, you know, from that 90th celebration commission, all of us working had dreamed about maybe one day there would be an Uchinanchu elected governor of Hawaii. Now, we had the best thing that we could because Lynn was the first lady, and we certainly adopted Governor Waihei as being Uchinanchu because we didn't really think that we would ever be able to elect Uchinanchu as governor. And back then, I had no desires to run for governor. And so, you know, we began to see how I would, if successful, would be the first Okinawan governor in the United States of America. And so the first inclination of how excited Okinawa was the fact that my winning the election was on the front page of the newspaper in Okinawa. And I just have to say that I know many of you were involved in the campaign. You know, the Okinawan community really, really supported the campaign in ways that you can't explain. Nobody expected me to win. We were outspent 10-1. No incumbent governor had ever been defeated. So there are a lot of reasons why we shouldn't have won the campaign. But working together, we were all successful. So becoming the first Okinawan governor and being able to go back to Okinawa was truly 3 times in a lifetime experience, I guess, because every single one was very special. I would like to thank the Hawaii United Okinawan Association and Jane Sarakaku, who was the executive director at that time, really wanted to make sure that the trip would be meaningful for me personally and my family. So they made arrangements for me to meet my relatives in Okinawa. We were able to visit the parcel that my grandfather grew up on. We were able to meet and have a potluck with the relatives, the Ige relatives in Okinawa. And we were able to connect with my relatives in Okinawa in a way that never would have ever happened. So I truly wanted to thank HUOA and the Okinawan community in general. You know, there are so many in Hawaii that have active personal connections with people in Okinawa. And I really do believe that that's what forms the basis of the relationship with Hawaii and Okinawa. It really is Ed's and Bob Nakasoni's and John Tasato's. It's a lot of the people in this community that have connections and have ongoing relationships with people and businesses and entities and organizations in Okinawa that really bonds Hawaii and Okinawa in a way that really is very, very difficult to replicate in any other way. Fast forward to Taikai, and clearly being able, as Ed had talked, Don and I able to lead the parade in Okinawa was truly a lifetime experience. You know, I don't know how many of you have actually been to Taikai? You know, it's you don't really think about it, but it's amazing to go, and people, Okinawans from all around the world come back to Okinawa. And so you see a lot of people that look like us, um, but they're speaking Portuguese and Japanese and Spanish and all kinds of languages. And the town is just overflowing with people that share the same values and dedication to hard work and really being proud of being Uchinanchu and being able to go back to the homeland and really experience being there and being able to celebrate with other Uchinanchu from around the world. So I just really just wanted to close by talking about Taikai in 2021. We had hoped to take our children back to Okinawa. Our experience in 2016 was certainly something that I wanted my children to share. But then had this thing called COVID that was creating issues. And I think for those of you who know, Taikai was supposed to be in 2019, right? And COVID, or 2021, sorry, it was supposed to be scheduled in 2021. And COVID was really changing how everybody behaved. And so Okinawa decided to delay it. And then as 2022 approached, it was like, are they going to do it or not do it? I talked to my children and said we should all go. And then, the rules changed. You needed visas, and a whole bunch of things. And anyway, long story short, Japan finally, the week before Taikai, dropped all of the visa restrictions and people could travel to Okinawa. So, my children was able to go with us to Okinawa. We did have an opportunity for them to meet our relatives in Nishihara. They truly became aware of what it means to be Okinawan and truly enjoyed the experience of being there. And I just wanted to thank all of you for being here and for what each and every one of you do to really make the relationship between Okinawa and Hawaii work. It really is all of the personal connections and relationships that many of us in Hawaii has with people in Okinawa that makes the Hawaii-Okinawa connection very, very special. Aloha, thank you.
Hi, Sai. One of the problems with following Ed is he steals your jokes, Actually, I do remember going to the Taikai, right? I even till today, I have a hard time remembering that name. And actually, the backstory to that was that I thought that it would be really good if I could say my entire speech in Okinawan. And so actually I spent about an hour with with Gary Nito just before I had to give the speech and memorized it. And the one word in the entire speech that was Japanese is the word I forgot. And I didn't know how to say kai tai, so I ended up saying kukai, and the whole delegation from Hawaii just went into an uproar. Actually, one thing about people from Hawaii, I mean, no matter where they go, in Okinawa, anywhere, if you're from Hawaii, there's some things that we all do. Like, for example, one of the things people from Hawaii do is when they always talk about food. Every time, what you ate yesterday, what I'm eating now, what I'm going to eat tomorrow. Well, Okinawa is very similar, except that in Okinawa, if you say, I ate something yesterday and it was real good, before you know it, they will show up on the table. You know, somebody would go find it, make you happy. You know, the hospitality was just tremendous. I wanted to tell you also, just like David, we got elected with the help from the Okinawan community. But what Governor Ige didn't tell you was that after I've been governor for a while, we wanted to start these immersion Hawaiian schools where they teach Hawaiian language, culture, and the rest. And we needed to have a place where the first school would be located, the pilot school. And he came to my office to volunteer that he wanted to have the first Hawaiian language school in the public system in Pearl City in his district. So, you know, he's a very, he gets adopted by the Hawaiians, and I get to hang out with the Uchinanchus. Actually, what I wanted to do tonight, truly, was to thank it and Carlene and others for inviting me to participate in this project. Because not only did I get to be recognized as David Ige's older adopted brother, more importantly, the whole process actually made me appreciate Hawaii better. It made me appreciate who we are. You know, and I came really to thank Carlene and Ed for giving me that chance to rediscover something. You know, one of the things that happened during the period after the overthrow and coming in and the territorial days of the Hawaiian Islands was how much the powers that be tried to segregate the population of this state. How they created in various plantations across the state different ethnic villages. There was a Japanese village, a Filipino village, the Hawaiians were here and everything. And not only did they separate people, not only did they separate them, but they also went out of their way to make sure that people didn't feel the same way about others. In other words, that they made sure that you might have felt that you may not be good enough, that you may not be important enough. This was part of Hawaii. This was part of Hawaii. And for Native Hawaiians, when we never called ourselves Hawaiian, you know. Hawaiian is not even a Hawaiian word. That's the word that people that were part of the kingdom all got called Hawaiian. We call ourselves Kanaka. But by the time the 1950s came, by the time statehood came, if you called somebody Kanaka, you was really calling them stupid. And the same thing happened with the Japanese Okinawan population. Okay? They would, you know, it was amazing if you study the history of this period, how it was that the people who were importing laborers from Okinawa and from Japan were using those same laborers as justification for us not to become a state of the Union because this place was too yellow. See, this was the history of Hawaii. But in 1970, the young people at the University of Hawaii rebelled. They stood up and they said, it is time for us to teach our history, to learn our history our way, that we need to be proud of who we are. And part of that rebellion was a young lady named Carlene Chanin, who is now writing about that pride and what it meant to people. You see, what what makes Hawaii special is the fact that all of us can be absolutely proud of who we are. So that's why when I took my children to Okinawa so that they can meet their great-grandmother, to understand what it was like to live there, to go through what the people went through, and to come out still taking care of people. You know, I think we talk so much about how similar Okinawa is to Hawaii. And in many ways it is, but it is superficial in one sense. If you look deeper, there is a sense of pride that exists. And it was that sense that was reignited in Hawaii, so that we can say what makes this place special is that every child can feel special about who they are. But that's only part of the reason. If you go anywhere in this country, in America, and I've tested this 100 times, and you ask the people, where's home? Where's home? They can tell you where they were born, they can tell you where they live, but very seldom does anybody tell you where home is. But if you see anybody from Hawaii, and you ask them, where's home? You know, that's what they did on American Idol. They asked this guy, I am Dongi. He said, where's home? Kahuku. You know, where you live? Seattle. Home was here. Why? What makes us different? What makes us different? You know, the old Hawaiians used to say that it doesn't matter who you are. If you allow it, Hawaii will change you. If you treat it with aloha, it becomes part of you. You see, that is what makes us unique. For all these years, I kept thinking, I've been trying to, ever since I wrote my foreword to this book, I'm trying to think about what does it mean when we say our diversity actually unites us, doesn't divide us. You see, because we are special when we acknowledge and are proud of who we are. We become unique when we love these islands that we live in. And so all of us have a heritage of belonging, of knowing there's a home, of being able to say, wherever I came from, whoever I am, this is my home. Aloha.